Hey everyone, Delphi Trading Group here with our weekly market report that we put out every week. And there's the closing bell that we put out here every week on our YouTube channel. We've been away for 2 weeks. We took Easter off and then an extended kind of break. It's always good to take some time off, recharge, and now we're back full steam ahead. Before we get to the indexes, we are here in our Discord. Okay, and why I'm in the Discord here is because I just wanted to point this out. We are in our option flow channel right here. We also call it UOA, Unusual Option Activity. And what I want to highlight here that we thought was very interesting today is someone came in and they bought over 26 million of these SPY puts for next week. Okay, these expire next week on Friday, a week from Friday, okay? They bought the 695 puts. You can see over 55,000. Now, we don't know the real purpose of this. It could be a hedge. We never really know what the reason behind the option flow is, but this is pretty significant, okay, over 26 million. So, and today we had a kind of flash crash towards the end of the day, which we'll get to, but so anyway, just wanted to highlight this, This is a very active channel for us. We do amazingly well with option flows. We trade option flows. So, if you guys want to get in here on the Discord, we are doing, again, a 14-day free trial. It's not going to cost you guys anything. It does no credit cards needed. And you can leave at any time. And you can see all the channels we have here for the community, including a chat. Okay, so anyway, just wanted to point those out. We actually did post this on our X account as well, so you might want to check that out. Okay, before we get to the indexes, I have an illustration up here, and we shared this with the community a couple days ago, of different types of gaps. Okay, in particular, we're looking at this exhaustion gap up here. Okay, this is the third gap when a stock or index is starting to go vertical and it's gapping up. Okay, this exhaustion gap here is the third gap. You can see down here, the first gap is called the breakaway gap. Then the second gap is the runaway gap. And then we have the exhaustion gap, okay? And 80% of the time when we get this set up, the stock or index starts to roll over, okay? And many times this middle gap fills, okay? I would say 80% of the time, this rollover results in this gap filling. Okay, and why am I highlighting this is because if we move here, okay, this is Thinkorswim, but you can see I have added that photo to the Thinkorswim chart here to kind of show you guys the setup here. Now, okay, this is going on all the indexes we'll get to. It's going on a lot of charts we're seeing with stocks. So you have to be very, very, very careful up here, okay? You can see here the breakaway gap here on the SPY, runaway gap, right there's the runaway gap, and up here is the exhaustion gap. And that gap is actually filled, okay? I'll show the minute chart, but we had a big dump very quickly here at the end of the day, and that gap is filled now, okay? So just watch this and be very careful. We are not chasing up here. We actually played some puts today. So we added some hedges. Some of those we already cashed out and did very well on. But full disclosure, we're still in some IWM puts, and we could start to see this result. Okay, remember, if this middle gap fills here, that is down here, roughly 685, where this 20-day moving average is. So this could start to roll over now, okay, to fill this gap. There are support levels here, so those would need to go, but just be very, very careful chasing up here and buying anything to the long side, okay? And if I'll just go to that minute chart, and you can see what I'm talking about. Right here, look at this. This is a minute chart. So basically, SPY went from 708, okay, all the way down to 703. That was a 5-point drop in, less than 30 minutes. Okay, so you can see that. and that's what triggered that gap to fill. Okay, so just be very, very careful. My forecast now, I'm going lower. You can see we took some time off here, but all these white lines are our forecasts. Okay, so we're like over 90% forecasting the indexes. And our last one here, we did a 2-part, and that went up and went down. So we haven't done a forecast in a while, but I'm going lower. Okay, we also have a high volume red on this pretty bearish candle. So I am going down towards the support. Okay, even though that gap filled, that's where I'm headed. I think we're going right down to this first support line. And again, it wouldn't surprise me if this gap fills, which would line up with this 20-day moving average. Okay, the 50 days down here. And look at my indicators below. CCI way still overbought, coming out, sell signals. Stochastic way overbought and now crossing with a sell signal. Okay, so I know we've gone up in a very short period of time. This is not normal. Okay, this is not normal market behavior. And most of the time, this tends to not end well. Okay, you get people FOMOing in up here, and then the rug gets pulled. Now, I'm not saying, we could fill this gap. It might take a little bit. But, I'm not saying we're going to crash down back to the lows. But just be very careful buying up here. I can't stress that enough. All right, let's look at the Qs. Okay, the Qs gap did not fill. Okay, so you can see this gap did not fill on the Qs. So I am going lower on the Qs. I'm going to this support level. Okay, right here, that's where I'm going. I think we're going to fill the gap. I think we'll maybe blow past that, and then we'll have to see. Okay, there is some support here, but for now, that's my forecast here on the Qs. And finally, IWM. Okay, we have a bearish engulfing candle. Okay, I said we are in IWM puts. We are still in those puts. We actually took some off here at the end of the day. But this is the one index that I think could fall the most, because this gap here is not until 268. Okay, so that is, from here about a 6-point drop still. Okay, and for now, I am going to this support right down here, roughly 272. But again, I'm expecting that gap to fill, because you can see here we have the breakaway gap, runaway gap, exhaustion gap, and I am expecting the rollover. Okay, again, that second gap is down here under this support, which again is lining up at the 20-day. But first things first, I'm going lower here. Would not surprise me if this gap fills, and it honestly wouldn't surprise me if this gap fills by the time we come back next week. Okay, look at that volume spike on that red, and this huge bearish divergence on the CCI stochastic cross. Everything is pointing to a breather. Now, how big the breather is, we don't know. But again, we would not be chasing up here. That's just us. That's what we are telling our community here at Delphi Trading. So again, just be very careful, you guys. We would not catch FOMO up here because again, we're seeing option flow. Charts are telling us, that this run could be taking a break, and that is how we are positioned. Okay. All right, so that's it from us here at Delphi Trading. Remember, we do have a 14-day free trial. You can find our information on this YouTube channel, on our X channel. You guys can jump on, join us here in the community, see what we're all about, see what we do for free for 14 days. Again, no credit cards needed, and you can leave at any time. Okay, so that's it from us. I want to wish you guys a great week. Good luck trading, and we will see you next week. Take care.